to Bad Movie Down, and we're on to the final episode covering Happy Madison, so I'm about to review the notorious The Master of Disguise. Just give you a moment. Yellow? Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of something here, can you be brief? He did? Really? But I've had the DVD for 2 years, I've only just got around to... Alright, fine. I'll have a look and see what's lying around. Okay-ish. Too good. Not nearly bad enough. Ah, here we go. Wait, why did I buy this? Hello and welcome to Bad Movie Down. Again. If slight change to my schedule, I'm instead going to be looking at Jack and Jill. If you read a lot of reviews of Sandler's recent work, then chances are you'll encounter at least one person comparing him to his character from Funny People George Simmons. The two do share a few similarities. Both are enormously rich and successful, both are stand-up comedians, and both have a weakness for starring in atrocious high-concept vehicles that pay lucratively at the expense of dignity. The latter part especially seems to stick in critics' minds, since Sandler was essentially parodying his own films there, especially Click, and it's more than a little ironic that Sandler has treated even further into that lazy shtick afterwards. However, I think it's a little unfair to play psychoanalysis with the character. Simmons' bitterness reflects in his choice of roles, and his fame has left him lonely and disconnected. Sandler, on the other hand, is a family man with a wife and 2 daughters, and doesn't seem to have a shortage of friends given the people who pop up in his films. I do think, however, there's something jaded about Sandler in his 40s, especially because his audience wants him to be the same man from SNL in his 20s and rejects his dramatic deviations, even Funny People's most mainstream attempt at it. His post-Funny People catalogue has certainly fallen into even lower brow humour and has been worse off for it. And then came Jack and Jill, which literally looked like a lost George Simmons movie and turned Sandler into a walking punchline overnight. That being said, the immaturity was deliberate. Although Sandler's recent work uncomfortably seems close to being family films with more sex jokes, especially the grown-ups films, Jack and Jill is a more concentrated attempt at the younger audience, being rated PG. Yet another collaboration with director Dennis Duggan. The script is attributed to Adam Sandler and Steve Coren, who specializes in high-concept comedies, given that he wrote Click, Bruce Almighty, and Eddie Murphy's Disastrous 1,000 Words. Jack and Jill cost $79 million to make, which may sound logical given the effects required for Sandler to interact with himself, until he realized that Ted only cost $50 million, and that had a talking CGI teddy bear as a main character. The damage was done before the movie came out, as it underwhelmed with $150 million worldwide, and it gained a reputation as a movie acceptable to hate. It got a measly 3% approval on Rotten Tomatoes, and 23 on Metacritic, and most damningly swept the 2012 Golden Raspberries, winning in every category, including the rather dubious claim that it's a rip-off of Glenn or Glenda. Its total of 10, beating the previous record holder I Know Who Killed Me. Given the Razzies' tendency for acceptable targets, it's fitting that Adam Sandler has usurped Lindsay Lohan. So why am I reviewing it? Well, it's either this or Bucky Larson Born to Be a Star, and I couldn't find the latter in Blockbuster's closing down sale. So prepare yourself for the horror of Adam Sandler to the power of 2 in Jack and Jill. The film bookends itself between interviews of real-life sets of twins, which aren't particularly funny, but feel more natural than a lot of things in the film. Speaking of which, you might have already noticed something about all these twins. They're both of the same sex. All the promotional materials claim that Jack and Jill are identical twins, which isn't possible, because for them to be identical, that would have to include their gender. This makes sense because strictly identical twins are created from a single fertilized egg that splits in 2. Now, you can get boy-girl twins fraternally, which is 2 separate eggs being fertilized by 2 separate sperm, but they're not identical identical for that exact reason. Now, there have been some rare exceptions to this, but A, there are roughly around 10 confirmed actual cases of this, and B, the female is born with Turner syndrome and is underdeveloped. Basically, that's a long and scientific way of saying the whole concept is absolute bullshit and should have been discarded right from the outset. But apparently no one making this movie bothered to do a 2-minute Google search. Anyway, Jack, played by Adam Sandler, is a successful ad director, which is not at all so he can cram in lots of pointless cameos and product placements simultaneously, and forget to write any actual jokes. Poor Dana Carvey disappears for nearly a decade after The Master of Disguise, and then makes his next film appearance in another critically despised Happy Madison production. Hey, at least he was only in for 30 seconds this time.
I got some bad news. We may lose Dunkin' Donuts.
They didn't like our pitches?
They want Al Pacino.
The Godfather Al Pacino.
They got this new coffee drink, the Dunkachino.
Uh-huh.
Dunkachino, Al Pacino, they sound alike?
Yes.
Well, they think it'll be a home run.
Of course it would be a home run. If he would ever do it, which he won't.
I love how so much of the movie depends on the idea that acting legend Al Pacino wouldn't stoop so low as to do a commercial. Well, in the UK right now, he's currently shilling for Sky broadband services. Trust me, I'm pretty sure he'll do it to the pay is better than Despicable Me 2. He's in this movie, so that's Exhibit B right there. Oh, and Nick Swartzen turns up again. Deep joy.
Did my wife call?
Yeah, you're all set for the cruise. You guys leave a week after Hanukkah.
Okay, all right. There's some good news.
Yeah, she converted, right? That's so cool. She doesn't look Jewish at all.
Wow. That was anti-Semitic.
What? No, I just...
See, I can say that. You can't. You're not Jewish.
No, but I'm close.
Well, what does that mean?
I'm an atheist.
You're 2 for 2 right there.
I know the PG rating restricts what kind of jokes you can do, but it's odd that Adam Sandler repeatedly goes for jokes about his Jewish heritage. Because apparently that's what the kids are into these days. The film makes a critical mistake by introducing us to Jill way too early. 5 minutes in, to be precise. There's hardly any time for build-up or even really introducing the characters before, oh, yeah, that's Adam Sandler in a dress, alright. And believe me, you'll want her off screen as soon as possible.
Why so many bags? What is with this?
Mom always said it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Oh, yeah, she did say that.
Are you going bald?
Huh?
No, you're getting fatter and your hair doesn't realize it needs to cover more face.
Okay.
Yes, that really is the voice that Adam Sandler's going to be using for Jill. You know, the one that he uses when he's playing a character rather than a variation of himself that goes, that voice right there should be like a fire alarm to your ears, and a sane person's response should be to run to the exit fast. And if you haven't already followed that friendly advice, you will wish you had by the end of Jill's first major comic set piece, where she comes to Thanksgiving dinner whilst Jack's family are with guests. Said guests have also brought homeless man Otto, who most of you should recognise because that's Alan Covert reprising his character from Happy Gilmore for no humorous effect whatsoever. His role in the film is basically screaming, "Hey look, I'm a reference to Adam Sandler's glory days, he's still funny." Well, no, he isn't, and that film was 15 years ago. It's not a free pass to be shit. It also introduces us to the rest of Sandler's family, including his wife Erin, played by Katie Holmes, daughter Sophia, and adopted son Gary. In the tradition of Sandler's child characters given quirky traits that are just weird and vaguely scary, Sophia likes to dress her dolls up like herself or the other characters, and Gary has a running gag about how he likes to take objects and even live animals to his body. Why?
Everyone has to be like Jack over here, even poor Gary.
What does that mean?
You made him switch from being Indian.
What is wrong with you? We adopted him when he was 10 days old. This is all he knows.
Did you ever think maybe he tapes things to himself because he doesn't feel connected? You know, to his real parents? That was very smart. I just thought of that. That was interesting.
Thanks for that explanation, Jill, because honestly, without that, I wouldn't have a clue why the hell he was doing that. I know Sandler constantly plays the kids do the darndest things card in his films, but this isn't adorable, and no kid has ever acted like this. It doesn't even go anywhere. It's completely unresolved by the end of the movie. The point of the scene is to establish how Jack and Jill are very disconnected from each other and how awkward they are. Well, they got that right because it's uncomfortably painful to watch.
Do you and Daddy have twin powers?
It's this thing we saw in 60 Minutes. Some twins have strange powers, and they can feel when the other one's hurt.
Oh, Jack and I can do that. Tell me you don't feel this.
I didn't feel it. Maybe if you did it harder. A little harder.
No, Jill, stop it. He's kidding.
What? Oh!
Feel that, Daddy?
I actually did feel something there. Pride in my son.
Jack has pride in his son as he punches his sister in the face at the dinner table. And I don't like your sister, but that's just mean and nasty. Glad we're teaching children that it's okay to hit people.
I was Pokey and your father was Pagogo. We had our own secret language. Ook magadodo, Pagogo.
I have no idea what those words mean, nor have I ever known what those words meant.
You do know what they mean, and you're lying right now. Ook magadodo means I love you. Bangi means thank you. Clappa means left.
Hey, do you remember what Laki Maki Coco means?
What does this mean again?
It means I can't stand you being here.
We have two shades of Adam Sandler, both as unlikable as each other. On the one hand, we have a shrill, annoying caricature of a woman, and on the other, we have a total asshole who is not so much passive-aggressive as full-blown abusive. Somehow Sandler's found a way to have anti-chemistry with himself. Jill then runs into the woods to try and sleep with the animals. Yes, really. They manage to convince her to come back, which is good, because now I can talk about how Adam Sandler plays Jill. His performance as her certainly doesn't play Jill as anything even remotely resembling a person. He's more like a grotesque caricature, or worse, a walking target. I'm guessing the reason why Sandler is playing the character wildly over the top is that he's trying to connect Jill to kids, and this certainly shows in her intelligence levels, which could be charitally described as childlike, except it comes across more like she's got severe learning disabilities.
Come downstairs, Ed. The food's ready.
I'll take a bath and I'll meet you downstairs in an hour. Good looking out, Poopy.
Don't forget your sweat shadow.
What?
All right, just take your bath and all that stuff, and then burn those sheets.
Even the film treats her like this gross, disgusting creature who has practically a full-time job in herself and invites us to sneer at her and how much of a stupid head she is, with about the same mentality as a playground boy. And yet Jill herself is not even remotely sympathetic because she's hardly a victim. In fact, she invades upon Jack's life by getting herself an open-ended return ticket to extend her stay as long as possible. So 5 days over Thanksgiving becomes staying over until Hanukkah and so forth. In many scenes, she's actually grossly rude and inconsiderate, which is not so much naive as plain selfish.
Hello? Shh. Mrs. Applebaum. Hi. Yeah, no.
Please stop talking.
All the way off the...
Jill!
If I'm
Jill!
Not, yeah, I can't hear. I'm trying to... I'm on the phone.
Well, get off the phone, you psycho! No, don't cry.
You know what?
Don't run away. Don't go in the woods. Jill!
So we've got it both ways. We're meant to despise her because she's so thoughtless as to answer a mobile phone call during a movie, but then we're meant to feel sorry for her because Jack called her a psycho, which is an insult so out of line it essentially forces us to side with her. And the whole film is like this, going from scene to scene, and even line to line in many cases. And none of this is any fun because it's all so hateful. Jack, realising that Jill is lonely but also desperate to get her out of the house, decides that she needs a man and tries to set her up on a dating website, which surprisingly, given Sandler's relentless product placement, is actually a fictional site.
So how long does it take to get a response on one of those computer dating things? I'm new to this.
It can take a day, it can take a week, you know what I mean? For someone like her,
What was that? What was it?
you know, someone like her, like, in her 40s, still single, you know what I mean? Incredibly homely.
Wow, you hate your job, don't you?
I only said that because you said that one time.
I can say that because I'm her twin.
Now, what's this about a twin?
Oh, Jackie has a twin sister.
Identical or fraternal?
Nocturnal, like a bat.
Really?
I'll pack my stuff up, man.
So Jack can say horrible things about his sister, but if anyone else does it, he's offended? That doesn't make him any more sympathetic, you know? He's showing the same mindset as the film itself, then. When she doesn't get any responses, Jack takes it upon himself to put an ad for her on Craigslist, which follows Project X rules and gets her loads of feedback. She arranges a date with one of the suitors, username Funbucket, played by Norm Macdonald. Oh, look how unattractive Adam Sandler is as a woman, honey ha ha. I would bemoan the fact that Norm Macdonald would actually appear in this movie, but let's face it, most of his recent film roles involving voicing talking dogs. It's hard to claim someone has fallen when they're already at bottom.
Hello? Fun bucket. He must have gone out to get some air.
Okay, how the hell did Jill not see him hanging from the ceiling like that? It's not that far off the ground. She wouldn't be able to see him from the doorway and probably wouldn't even need to look up. What the camera sees is not the same as the character's eyesight. Jack feels bad because Jill's date went so badly, so he takes her to a Lakers game using an extra ticket that he had. The reason that he's going at all was because he's heard that Al Pacino will be there and needs to convince him into doing the Dunkin' Donuts ad. Oh, and Johnny Depp sat next to him, just because. Although Jack tries to coax Pacino, Al's too busy taking notice of Jill. Because she comes from the Bronx, I guess? Al even gives her his number, but a still heartbroken Jill is less enthusiastic. It's somewhat understandable that Jill doesn't pay too much mind to being courted by a celebrity because they're bloody everywhere in this movie. This film really feels like Adam Sandler went through his BlackBerry and said, "You owe me a favor," because that would explain the randomness of them, like Shaq just popping up ahead of his part in Grown Ups 2 for some reason. There's a completely pointless, out of nowhere scene with Jill appearing on Drew Carey's The Price is Right, where she jarringly knocks herself out on the wheel. But the biggest cameo fest occurs at Jack and Jill's surprise birthday party, especially old marketing mascots like Subway's Jared and Vince Offer, aka the ShamWow guy, Billy Blanks, and several others that are completely lost on me as a UKer.
Okay, here's the situation. You're here. There's not a Subway in sight. You're at a steakhouse like this. What do you eat?
I eat other things.
Oh, you do? You do? I knew you were cheating. That's why there's so much goo left on you. I miss the old Jared, the 400-pound Jared that scared us.
I don't miss that one at all.
Well, I'm sure you don't, but if he was around, he'd be with me and not with the two hookers.
Sander, your movie's rated PG. It's for the kids, remember? And it's fitting that Sander got Vince Offer in there, so this is one of the few people that makes comedies worse than he does, and it probably made him feel better.
Did I ever tell you Todd is an atheist?
Oh, what?
Oh, God.
Have a great time, guys.
How could there be a Grand Canyon if God didn't exist?
I'm just saying, maybe...
Maybe God wouldn't have given you a rat face if you believed in him.
Whoa. Wait a minute. This guy doesn't believe in God?
No.
Idiots like you really make me mad. Fight! You got to do us so in your skull!
John McEnroe gets so rage over people being atheist, he picks a fight with them? But that doesn't make any sense. You cannot be serious! Also, wasn't Nick Swartzen fired in his last scene? Are we meant to forget about that?
Well, make a wish, you twins.
Okay, let's do it.
Where's the other cake? There's not enough candles for both of us.
Jill. One cake's enough. Make the wish.
Mom and Dad always got us 2 cakes. Made us both feel special.
Oh, you stop already. Blow out the candles.
Really? She's running off crying because they didn't get them 2 cakes? But the thing's massive, there's more than enough. There's no reason for Jill to even be upset. It's just petty and stupid. In reality, this is just an excuse for Jill to run into Al Pacino, who has been waiting for her, which implies that he stalked her, I guess? guess? And this probably won't come entirely as a surprise, but Pacino is easily the best part of this movie. Yes, his participation seems like an attempt to one-up De Niro's embarrassing performance in Rocky and Bullwinkle, but he's clearly committed himself to this self-parody as someone who's so deep into acting, he's gone just a little bit crazy in a way that obviously no one has allowed him to do so before. It almost elevates the movie to watchable, but the fact that he's even in it in the first place is just sad. I'm not even sure he's acting, I'm pretty sure he just got the same temporary insanity as when he accepted the script.
He's gonna throw the ball. All you gotta do is make contact. That's all.
I feel like this is your game, and it's not my game.
Ho! Ho!
Oh my God! I'm sure you have others, though.
You'd think it, but oddly enough, I don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the only funny gags in the movie, and certainly sums up the damage that Al Pacino has done to his reputation over the last decade, let alone this movie. I always say the best jokes have a basis in truth. Jack's gardener Felipe, played by Mexican star Eugenio Derbez, finds Jill sleeping in the woods again the following morning.
What you doing out here? I stayed out here because I didn't want to go in the house, and Aaron tried to make me come back, and I wouldn't. He yelled at me because I rejected Al Pacino.
Apparently Jack was so mad at Jill that at some point he stopped trying to convince her to come back into the house and just let her sleep in the wild all night. What a caring brother Jack is. Meanwhile, stalkery Mr. Pacino is not ready to give up on Jill just yet as he hoo-has his way into the house.
This it? She sleeps here?
She does. She sleeps with you. Oh, God, yeah. Sorry you have to see that.
Look at this. Is that something?
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Ow, I wouldn't lay there.
Oh. She leaves an after scent.
I think we've just witnessed the lowest sight in Al Pacino's long career. Making out with Adam Sandler's sweat stain. Rated PG, ladies and gentlemen! Having turned utterly terrifying, Pacino makes Jack an ultimatum. He'll do the ad if he gets another shot at Jill, which requires her staying even longer, given that she was supposed to be leaving tonight. Meanwhile, Felipe takes Jill to his family picnic, and I should mention what Felipe does in almost every scene he's in.
That's my father, my mama, my brother Juan, my other brother Juan, Juan Jr., my sister Juanita, my grandma Juangelina, and that... I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, that's a lot of work!
I'm making a stereotypical Mexican joke, but it's okay, I'm kidding. If you have to constantly spell out your own jokes to the point where it becomes the character's catchphrase, then it's probably because they aren't funny. Cue the obligatory montage. The film keeps cutting to Felipe's grandma, which seems quite odd until you realise that's also Eugenio Derbez in drag and heavy makeup, which apparently does a lot in his own native productions, but here is utterly irrelevant. Oh, and Jill's never tried Mexican food before, the punchline of which should be obvious to even the youngest members of the audience, I reckon.
I spent the day at Felipe's picnic where I finally felt welcome. By everybody. I tried this new food for the very first time.
I'm guessing Mexican?
Hey, so I just wanted to talk to you about last night and everything.
Oh my God. What, are you hot or something?
I just have to, I would love for you to stay a few extra days.
You can literally smell the desperation in the air. Hey, what the kids like? Farting! So let's do a solid minute about her past and how her poo smells and stuff. P.U. See, when I describe it like that, I sound like a 5-year-old, but someone's paid to wipe that onto paper, so to speak. That also means that Jill is tagging along on the big cruise that Jack is taking his family on over Christmas. It was basically a gigantic advert for Royal Caribbean Cruises, which is identified by name. The fact that even going on a cruise is completely incidental to the plot. Yep, Adam Sandler's used another one of his movies as as an excuse for a luxury holiday. Although it is fitting that another one of Sandler's very worst movies is also set on a cruise liner. Jack calls up Pacino as he's performing on stage in what is actually a kind of clever riff on actors complaining about people using their mobile phones during performances, as he stops acting to take the call.
You get me this girl, or you don't get that Del Pacino commercial, you understand? Don't you know I would use all my power, all the power I have, to keep a commercial like that from happening?
Is he seriously breaking out The Godfather?
You know, Al Pacino's impression of naughty Zero De Niro is absolutely impeccable. I can't wait for him to start talking about how he's becoming the Godfucker. In order to appease Pacino, Jack impersonates his sister and arranges a date on her behalf. However, convincing her to go proves to be much more difficult.
I was thinking tonight, portside, you could go on that deck, check out the stars, put on something gorgeous, because there might be a handsome surprise waiting for you.
Really? It's not Al Pacino, is it? Because that would just hurt me at this point.
It's not, all right?
All right, then why are you getting so angry?
Why are you so annoying?
Why would you say that? We were just having fun.
We never had fun when you were around. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, this is you, man. This is on you. You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind.
Okay, why does he just tell Jill that he desperately needs Al Pacino for work and he just needs this one thing from her? You know, actually explain the situation as opposed to devolving into an ugly shouting match? Oh, right, because that would be a much shorter movie. With Jill out of the picture, Jack comes up with a plan B. Actually dress up as his sister and go on the date with Pacino himself. So basically a trap for the next section of the film with the Jill voice and no escape. Also, this transformation sequence only serves to undermine the film since it shows just how little effort it requires to turn Adam Sandler into an unconvincing woman. To slap on a wig, some fake nails, padding in a dress, and ping, you're done. You just killed some movie magic for some children, you bastard. So Pacino picks up Jack as Jill in his helicopter and takes him to the castle in Europe that he currently owns because he's so in character or something. So I guess he's no longer performing as Lear in LA then. And of course, there's the same old routine about how Sandler's characters react violently at any hint of homoeroticism.
Hey, what's Popcorn's problem? Mayor McCheesy doesn't like his new script?
Oh, get over yourself. My brother's very good at what he does. He's gonna write a book one day, you'll see.
He's got a whole novel in him about Desenic's foot powder.
So funny.
Whoa! Hey!
Now, you take back what you said about Pagogo.
Go ahead, do it.
Can someone please explain to me what the hell is happening right now? Why are they charging each other with broken bottles and wooden chairs? I know this is so stupid, I should have long ceased caring by this point, but aren't the guys supposed to be making sense of this nonsense? Answers on a postcard, please.
You want to know what I see?
Yes, I want to know what you see. You can get any girl in the world, and why would you want me? Answer that. It makes no sense.
I see an angel with a broken wing. I see a brother who all he got, all his life, was everything. I see a girl who wants recognition, but just never gets it. Yet, she has a heart so big, she finds happiness in seeing her brother receive it all.
Even though the fact that this is spoken by Al Pacino makes it halfway convincing, this is still clearly a bunch of schmaltzy rubbish that tries to make us sympathetic for a character that sounds like a prepubescent Gilbert Gottfried. I can think of something Jill is full of as a character, and it sure isn't love. A taste of treacle makes Jack realise that he needs to see his sister, only to discover that she's gone home about the fact that her brother pretended to be her behind her back. And oddly, his wife doesn't have stronger words about all this either, just very charitably calling him a weirdo. You know who I feel sorry for in the middle of all this? Katie Holmes, whose role is entirely defined by the word wife. She has no jokes to deliver, her past is entirely underwritten, and all she has to play is the long-suffering spouse who barely registers a word in protest. No wonder she looks as miserable as the rest of us. And cue the forced third act sad bit, as Jill returns to the Bronx and prepares to spend New Year's all by herself. Oh, have I mentioned yet how Jill spent the last several years taking care of her parents, who recently passed away before the events of the movie? Suddenly you feel really bad for laughing at Jill, huh? And doesn't that make Jack even more of an asshole for hating his sister? Especially when it looks like he did bugger all to help her or even visit? Yeah, no wonder the film tries to forget about this plot thread as much as it can. In fact, there are set photos that show they actually shot a graveyard scene, which, once again, is conspicuous by its absence from the DVD's deleted scenes. I wonder why. So Jill goes to a bar where she probably gets picked on by yet more of Sandler's friends making guest appearances, including David Spade as a third person to get dragged up during this movie. There seems to be a running joke through Sandler's films about how much David Spade looks like a woman, especially given his previous appearance in Chuck and Larry. He really doesn't, but he still makes a better woman than Sandler does. But soon Jack and his family come to her rescue. So Jack and Jill bond over beating up David Spade, as you do, and then Al Pacino shows up dressed in character as Don Quixote from Man of La Mancha to tell her that he stopped pursuing her or something. Symbolism! Yes, Al Pacino's role in Jack and Jill has several allusions to Man of La Mancha. I think I just heard literary scholars around the world collectively scream in agony. Jack takes her home to discover that Philippe has made her lawn more romantic because he's got something to tell her.
Jill, before you left, what I was trying to tell you is that you made me feel like I just climbed out of the trunk of my cousin's car after driving 1,100 miles across the border. Huh? I'm kidding. I love you, Jill. I love you. I love you, Jill.
Oh, I love you. It was that afternoon together that made me realise I had feelings for you, even though I'm actually a minor character who's disappeared for the last 30 minutes or so, and I've only reappeared to give the film an arbitrary happy ending. Oh, and to please the lucrative Hispanic demo. And the epilogue is that Al actually did the infamous Dunkachino ad, which seems like the film was reverse engineered to get to this point, managing to be quite funny when you're not cringing.
What's my name?
Dunkachino! Dunkachino!
And boom, there you have it. It's actually 32 seconds, so I gotta lose 2 seconds. Maybe you can tell me what part you would lose, but I think we are getting there.
Burn this.
I'm sorry?
This must never be seen by anyone.
No, this is not the final cut. There's no doubt we can...
All copies. Destroy them.
And those are technically the final words of the actual film, fittingly enough, which almost seems like an open invitation for every critic in the land to apply those words to the movie itself. And so they should, because this should have been disavowed and locked in a vault by everyone involved. Is Jack and Jill the worst thing ever? No, I've seen worse. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's bad. It's downright awful. But so is Just Go With It. And if you made me choose, I'd probably pick this one because it's much shorter. Even Dennis Duggan must have known how bad it was because it's only 90 minutes. That said, even with the short running time, this has absolutely dreadful pacing issues, hideous comedic dead spots, and at times barely cohesive. Adam Sandler manages to be utterly detestable in two equally terrible roles, which dominate much of the film and its cast. For a film aimed at younger audiences, this is a total failure. They might vaguely relate to Jill, but I don't think they'd be at all interested in the stuff between her and Al Pacino, a lot of which is actually really inappropriate for a family comedy. Speaking of Pacino, he is actually trying here, even with the awful material, injecting a lot of misplaced intensity into something that he just could have hoo-ha'd his way through in his sleep. But mostly this was just horribly misguided before Sandler even remotely puts on his fake boobies. I mean, even in Happy Madison's work, it's debatable whether Jack and Jill is actually worse than Bucky Larson, That's My Boy, or Grown Ups 2, but I won't be finding out just yet because I've had quite enough of Sandler's mug for some time now. I'm Matthew Buck, beating down bad movies everywhere.
Kiss goodnight. I got you up inside. I got you. I won't let go. I got you. Love me so.
I'm sorry, Doug. No meanness there. No meanness. I just thought it was funny. Oh, I'm so heartbroken. I couldn't get to review The Master of Disguise. Oh, that was surprisingly well.